Okay, guys, so we're going to get started, if you're okay with that. I know you're doing it. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. So my name is Sylvia. I am a home supervisor here at Hope and Home. I've been here for about a year and a half. My parents have been doing foster care for 20 years, so that's why they have 10 kids. And now they're thinking about reopening their license, so they're going through the same process as you guys are, but down in Pueblo. But what I want to start off with is introductions for everybody. Your name, what brought you to foster care, what age range and gender you guys are looking into doing. Sound good? You guys want to start?
Talk to the boat. Anyway, I'm Guy, this is Susanna. What brought us to foster care? I think when we got married 14 years ago, we just kind of had that heart. I guess we had some friends that had gone through it, and we just see the need for kids that need a home. And what was the last question?
What age range and gender, and do you guys have any biological kids or already adopted kids?
We own 3 kids.
Okay.
And we're looking for under 2 years old, either gender.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Do you want to go? No, it's okay.
My name is Joy. This is my first home foster. I've been thinking about it for a really long time. And then, I'm just kind of thinking, age range? Probably, I'm good with one school-ish. Either gender.
Okay. You guys?
I'm the mouth of the family. We're Randy and Julia Hodges. We've been taking in kids in our home for a long time, more on the criminal side of things. we came here. We've known about Hope and Home. We've known George Cresswell and the whole startup of this. And I don't know, just God laid on our minds to go through Hope and Home, and we're finding out that there's an official way to do this versus the unofficial way to do it. We have adult kids, we have grandkids, and we've recently become empty nesters, and I think we're decided, you know what, we got time. We work with teens and middle schoolers, so we're probably looking at that age. I do not want toddlers. But that's kind of where we're heading. I don't know about ages or other than maybe elementary school up.
Okay.
Gender.
No babies?
No. You guys can have a baby.
You guys can have babies.
Unless they sleep all the time.
All right. Okay. You can introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Catherine. I'm a new home supervisor here at Hope and Home, so I'm just going through the classes and everything for part of my training.
This is my husband Kevin, and I'm Karen, and we have 3 children. And I think from both of our backgrounds, we were always interested in helping children, and I kind of did what you mentioned, but it was an official way in Germany. I'm a sped teacher, and there it was offered through the government to offer respite hours. So I always have especially special kiddos in our home. And now is a good time for us. We have a special kiddo together, our youngest, and she's 7, and she's in a good place now to where we can really help more kids. And our house has 2 extra bedrooms and an extra bathroom, and just kind of fill it up. And I have a lot of siblings, and I grew up with a lot of kids, so to me it's like, our lifestyle and what we enjoy doing, hiking, swimming, YMCA. It's like so much more fun if you come with a crowd. And I'm a licensed CNA here now too, so I am interested in helping maybe kids that maybe some other foster families would be scared taking in, because of feeding tube or Drake or whatever. So for us, the age range is really wide open. It's whatever is needed, and it's got to fit, for case by case, but we're not specifically saying just this age or that. It's like really, anybody's welcome, and has been so far now.
Yeah, I think the idea has always been there, but I think we're at a good time right now to do some stuff like this.
So what was your name again?
Kevin.
Kevin and Karen?
Yes.
Ditto without the husband.
I love it.
It's always been on my heart to do foster kids. I married somebody, unfortunately, who was satisfied with one child. So, you know, he wasn't budging. But I did tell him it was a deal breaker. I'd leave and get pregnant and come back. So we have 3 kids. We are now divorced. And I started to come back and do this right after the divorce, but then the kids. I could see the emotional breakdown in the kids, and I said, not a good time. I have 3 boys, 21, 17, and 14. The 17 and the 21-year-old are about to leave me. 21-year-old could stay. The 17-year-old say, I'm going to take a cusp year like my brother. And I said, no, you need to go to school. He is that typical middle child. Somebody else needs to deal with that. So they are both off to college in September. I have a 6-bedroom house and 1 child that goes in between. And I said, this is it. This is the time. We have got room. My job also allots me to be a single parent and do this. I am a nurse at a school, and the school is K-12.
Oh, nice.
So whoever counts is going to that school. And don't embarrass me. Working with SPED kids and all 3 levels, I just working and seeing the foster kids that come in. Some fabulous foster parents and some not so fabulous foster parents. But I wonder how. So it's just this time in my life that my 14-year-old can deal with it. He's about to ignore me for the next 4 years. It is what they do. And I have the room, and I have the heart, and everything's in place. I have no preference as to sex. I have a hope to keep large families together because I have the space. And babies, I would love to do it. I love babies. I may steal babies and sniff them on occasion, but I can't do them being a single parent and, during the school year. But during the summer, I'm more than open. But I always figure unless they come with a family, there are lots of people who want babies. So.
All right. Good.
Marcia? I'm sorry.
All right, guys. So we're going to move on in. Do you guys have any questions for me? I mean, I feel like you guys are going to have more questions at the end. Okay. So this is the master binder. This is the first thing we're going to go over. This is all the paperwork that will be involved in having a foster child in your home, okay? So I want to go through this carefully because and I want to really emphasize getting this paperwork in appropriately and on time is very, very important because if you don't get the paperwork in on time, you're technically not in compliance with the state as well. But most importantly, I want to make sure you guys fill it out right because even the smallest detail, if it's off, it can't go in your file and it has to wait the whole month to get back to you. So even just doing it the first time will be super helpful, which is why we're going to go through it together, okay? So this first page is just all the sections in the book. So we're going to go through the initial section first. So this initial paperwork is paperwork that needs to be completed within 24 hours of getting a placement. If you get a child at 3 a.m., I don't expect you guys, and nobody expects you guys to go through all this paperwork at 3 in the morning. Wait until a more reasonable time when the child wakes up and you guys aren't tired, and then fill it out. So the first paper is this emergency drill log. This needs to be completed, again, within the first 24 hours. So you can see that here it says like January fire, February fire, March flood, and then it kind of rotates through flood and tornado. When you get a placement, no matter what it says for the month, you're always going to do a fire drill first, okay? Even if you get them in April and it says tornado drill, always a fire drill when it's your initial emergency drill log. You're going to want to put your name at the top, the month and the year, and then you're going to put everybody who did the fire drill in your home, in the participants, and then you're going to put ages for everybody in the home, especially your children. Plan of escape, when you started the emergency drill, and then where you're meeting at and what time you finish the drill, okay? I really want to emphasize that Especially for babies, it's very important to have run a fire drill. A lot of people want to fake the emergency drills. It's very important to practice who's going to get the baby, who's going to get the dogs, who's going to get our kids, or make a system if you are taking a large family in. Who's going to be a buddy, who's going to go this way, who's going to go that way, things like that. It's very critical to plan these things out because they happen, you know. The next thing is the admission inventory. This is when foster children come into care initially, they usually don't have much. And sometimes what they come in with is the only thing they have, so it's important that they leave with it. Especially if they do return to their parents, and maybe they are babies, and those first onesies mom might want if they go back to mom. So it's important to document everything they got, how many things they have, what it is, what color it is. On the bottom, you're going to see youth signature and witness signature. You guys are the witnesses, and then the children are going to sign down here. If they are too young to sign, just write too young down here, okay? If they can't write their name. And we are going to have kids who come into care and probably should be in school and aren't in school, still write too young if they don't know how to write their name. This next one is the foster children's rights. When they come into care, you're going to want to read this to them. And what I'm going to ask you guys to do right now is read it yourselves, and then let me know if you have any questions, okay? All right. Any questions so far?
So I have a couple questions.
Yes, ma'am.
So on your letter writing, is without access to emails instead? Is that like?
That's essentially the same thing. Okay. For letter writing specifically, I'm trying to think of how to put this. There will be times when parents are allowed to write letters to their children, and the therapist looks them over, and if it's appropriate, then the child gets it. In that aspect, the child should write a letter back. The therapist is going to look at it and then would look at it with mom and dad. So that's more of what that's speaking about.
And then what about communicating with significant others? Are there rules about talking to the parents on the phone? Okay.
So there are going to be times when most children, when they come into care, everything is supervised. Their visitation is fully supervised, phone calls are fully supervised, if they even get phone calls. Unless the team states that they can only speak to grandma and grandpa with supervision, then, because sometimes grandma and grandpa are not the issue, sometimes those are safe people and they should be able to talk to them. Grandma and grandpa didn't do anything wrong. So we try to keep communication with these family members open still, because it's just more support for the child. So as long as it's appropriate, the team deems it appropriate, then they are allowed to have contact with their family.
Are we going to know what's appropriate within 24 hours?
No, usually it's going to be something where there is a team decision-making meeting when a child comes into care, which is the county and we meet with each other and we discuss why the kid is coming into care. Is it appropriate that the kid comes into care? And usually that's already decided by then, but we can find out who can they talk to, who can't they talk to, and things like that there. Or some people kind of pop up later down the line and you can talk about it with the team when they come and visit you or something like that. Or your home supervisor can reach out as well and find out if there's any other family out there. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, next group. This is the child admissions checklist. Again, you're going to want to make sure that the child's signature is completed on here. This right here, the checklist, it's not actually a checklist. You need to write the dates that you completed everything, it's the documents that we just went through. So you want to put the dates on there. Again, it needs to be within 24 hours of them coming to your home. So I want to speak on something specifically. On the third one, it says that you need to review house rules and discipline used in the home. I don't necessarily discipline. When you say discipline, some foster children kind of back away from it. It's a little, that just raises some hesitancy in them. What I encourage is to speak on what discipline doesn't look like in your home. We won't hit you. You won't sit in a corner. You won't hold books for punishment. Things like that. And then if they ask you what it looks like, then you can say, well, you might sit in your room for a few minutes until you've calmed down or things like that. For the last one, it says the receipt of a health passport. You're always going to write not accessible because we do that for you now. Whereas you guys used to have to make a whole health passport yourself, which was collecting all their medical documents and putting it together. We do that for you. Right above that is the receipt of authorization for medical care. You guys will not get this directly from a caseworker unless you get somebody who's out of county, say Adams County or Arapahoe County. You guys will get it directly. Instead, here in El Paso County, we get it and then we send it to you guys. Okay? And that's what you're going to use to take the kids to the doctor. It's your placement document that says that they are in your home. You're allowed to make decisions for them within reason. So when you sign them up for school or anything like that, that's what you're going to take with you.
So in general, if they had to go to emergency room or something like that, what would you call?
You would take that medical authorization. It's also kind of like their Medicaid card. Yeah. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello. So let me just get you guys some stuff. And I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but I am going to stall a little bit so I can get your paperwork for you. So can you guys give me your names, what brought you to foster care, and what age range you wanted to foster?
Yeah. So this is my husband, Jeff, and I'm Lauren. And we do foster care because, sorry, I just because we, our long-term goal is to adopt some more kiddos. And
we adopted from Bulgaria this last year, and on our heart, it's the same opportunities into the world, but there's a lot of places that need good homes. And we want to adopt domestically, and the best route is foster care. So if we go while we're at it, let's serve the community as well, and help these kids in other places. So.
our age range is 0 to 5.
0 to 5.
Here you guys go. We're going through the master binder right now. Okay. So we are on the foster child permission form. It's going to be right before this section 2 paper here. Foster child permission form. So for all of these things listed, we still need to get parental permission for kids to participate in these activities. So it's kind of easy to just get it all done in one form. So I always recommend taking this form with you on your first visitation, so mom and dad can fill it out while they're there at the visit. I want to point out that it says receiving immunizations and receiving haircuts on here. So it's very important to try to get this done quickly, because when you go to take a child for their first physical in foster care, they're more likely than not, guys, they're behind on their shots. And the doctors want to get them caught up, but they can't unless this is signed. Okay, so it's kind of important to get it done. If you can't physical, then just get it done as soon as possible and take the child back for a separate appointment. Okay. Haircuts as well. If you are taking African American children, Sometimes mom and dad, and really anybody, mom and dad have a specific person that they want to go to get their hair done. Still a professional, but someone specific who knows how to do their hair and take care of it. Take notes of that, okay? Because parents are really going to appreciate you putting in that effort for them, for their child, even if it's something that might inconvenience you, okay? Does anybody have any questions about this, though, in particular? I want to make sure.
So with the permission one, so you're always going to initially have a meeting with the parent?
You can if you want to. A lot of parents, I always recommend doing icebreakers and getting this done as well. And in an icebreaker, that's when you get to ask mom and dad things like, well, what's their bedtime routine? Is there something special that you make them when they've had a rough day? Or is there a special song that you sing them when they've had a bad day? That's what an icebreaker would do. And sometimes parents do list things like, please, like, swaddle them, or please, like, do this with them. Like, and a lot of parents, too, they know that their kid's not going to get some experiences if they are with them. So they want them to travel. They want them to go camping. They want them to go fishing. They want them to go to Disneyland. They're usually not going to put up a fight about those things. So it is a good idea to always bring this up. And even ask parents specifically, is there a sport that you played that you want him to play or you want her to play? Because, I mean, it's something that really gets to our bio parents, too. Okay? Any other questions besides that?
So the parent does initials here?
Parent initials and then signs here. Sometimes parents aren't around initially, so the caseworker can also sign if we need to. And usually they go to court and they say, look, I need these things approved, and the judge signs off on it, and then they get to sign off on it.
So what's the time frame between a placement and then this visitation that happens?
Usually it's within the first week. Yeah. So section 2, we're going to talk about med documents.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, sir.
It's a pretty small list of activities, so
Mhm.
if there was something else you were going to do, it's not allowed unless you get their permission to do it?
You can write things down on there. Like if there's something that you're not so sure about, you can write it down on there and give it to mom and dad. Or if there's something you don't think about initially, you can always just write a note to mom and dad when the kids go into visitation saying, this is what I want to do with them. Are you okay with this? And they can say yes, and then just sign it, and that works too. Okay. Does that work for everybody? You good? Okay. So the next page is the initial physical. This needs to be done within 2 weeks of a child coming into care. When you make the appointment, please write down the date the appointment was made. It's right here. I'm going to tell you guys something. Do you see, is optometry exam recommended for this child? When you take this physical in, highlight that, because every single pediatrician misses that one question. And if a child doesn't need a vision exam, but they didn't mark this, then you have to take them to see an ophthalmologist. So you can kind of just skip all of that if they just circle yes or no. If they need a vision exam, then that's one thing. But if you don't get it circled at all, then you have to take them.
Is there a specific licensing required for the physician that does this? Like they have to be an MD or a doctor of practice to do this?
Oh, no. It has to be a pediatrician. It has to be a pediatrician.
So
Yeah.
MD.
Yes. Sorry. I misunderstood what you're saying. It does have to be a pediatrician. I will tell you, though, that we have specific pediatricians that we often use, a lot of Hope and Home parents use, such as Matthew Vu or Iron Horse Pediatrics down on Tejon, I believe they are. But when you guys get through the licensing process and you get on the Facebook page, a lot of parents are going to tell you, like, this is the person I use and this is why, and they're great and things like that. So you're going to find the ones that work for you through this journey.
Refine his question a little bit.
Mhm.
So can, if you go to Iron Horse Pediatrics, you can use the doctor's assistant, not the doctor's
The nurse
assistant.
practitioners.
Nurse practitioners.
You
they
can
all-
still use
they
them,
all
yeah.
can.
Mhm.
Okay.
So nurse practitioners.
No, you can do the nurse practitioners. I don't know about the physician's assistant and then the pediatrician. But usually when you go to Iron Horse, the pediatrician still signs off on everything. Does that make sense?
I'm a PA and
Okay. So there you guys go. Okay. So this one I really want to talk about, guys. This is the over-the-counter medication form. If you do not have this, first off, take it with you to get the physical done. Second of all, if you don't have this, you can't give any of these medications to any of the kids. And it doesn't just include, and it's not just what's on here. You can't even put sunscreen on a kid if it's not filled out here, okay? So, especially since we're going into summer, please write sunscreen down here and make sure you get it signed off on, okay? And I believe when you guys license, it's not going to look like this. It's going to look like something else. This is an old form. I don't know why it's here.
Does this also include things like skin lotion?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Soap?
No.
Well, that's
So the next thing is the initial dental form. Once a child turns 2, they need to see a dentist. Point blank period. What I will say is that when they go for their initial exam, please pay attention to what the recommendations for follow care are. We pay attention to that. So if they say that the child needs to come back in 1 week, the child needs to come back in 1 month, you need to take them back in 1 week, you need to take them back in 1 month, okay? Usually the follow-ups are very important, especially for our kids who come into care. They do have a lot of rotten teeth. They really do get teeth decay. I just had 2 kids from the same family who just had to get dental surgery, and they had to be put under because of how bad the damage in their mouth was.
Is there something about orthodontia in here?
If they make a referral to orthodontist, then you take them to the orthodontist, and we'll go through that. There's going to be more forms, guys. There's a lot of forms. This is the initial vision. Again, take this with you. Initial vision and initial dental don't need to be done until 8 weeks into care, but please get them scheduled as soon as possible because they actually do take a long time to get in. Again, follow the instructions. If they say follow up within a week to make sure the glasses fit correctly, be there within a week. Take the paper, have them write off that you arrived and that everything checked out fine so that we can get it in our file too. If they make any referrals, please let us know what referrals they make for you guys for vision. Sometimes, as an example, I have a child who she went so long without glasses, her vision is so bad that she's almost blind, and the ophthalmologist says that he can't do anything else for her. She has to go see an eye therapist. So it's really important for you guys to let us know when things like that happened because that's something that's not covered by Medicaid. And we have to go to DHS and say, look, this is how much it's going to cost. Figure it out, kind of. So then we're going to section 3. Does anybody have any questions about the medical forms?
Can we sort out, do we, like, when they have these, do this in a week, do this in 2 weeks, do we need, like, fax them or email them, scan them to you within that time frame?
So I'm going to show you what to do. Okay. On your phones, there is an app called Cam Scanner where you can scan the documents, turn it into a PDF file, and email it to us right away. Straight from the doctor's office. Not only that, it saves it on your phone without taking up a whole bunch of data or a whole lot of space on your phone as well. So if it gets lost somewhere in cyberspace, you still have it right away. And you can label it as what it is, or you can put all of the initial documents, you can put them all together in a file and ship them to us. So it's super easy. It's called Cam Scanner. CAMSCANNER. Yeah. Do you guys have any other questions? I'm trying not to move too fast, but okay. So this is the correct way to fill out an emergency drill log. Okay. So this is just something to refer back to, right? You have to fill out an emergency drill log every month. It doesn't have to be on the same day, but it needs to be done every single month. The next page is another emergency drill log. Just flip it because we've talked about that already. And then you're going to go to this monthly progress notes. Here, you're going to write the month and the year, your guys' last name only, and then the child's full name. what appointments they had. So if they had occupational therapy and physical therapy certain days of the month, you're going to put that here. You're going to put their initial dental, any follow-up dentals, and anything like that up here as well. Then you're going to write down areas of progress, things that they progress throughout the month. Now, sometimes you're going to get a placement and it's going to be 2 days before the month is over. You still have to complete something, but we're not looking for something too heavy. Like, it can just be something basic like they didn't cry today or something like that. Areas of concern, same thing, just things you're concerned about, but not something like I'm worried about where this case is going. That's got nothing to do with the child. We're talking about how they are developing socially, emotionally, and physically. Okay? Then you guys are going to sign it and we're going to sign it. Please, please, please do not put none on areas of progress. Okay? It's just not possible. All right? Find something. Okay?
So there's 2 days left in the month, and you want this done for that whole month?
I just wing
But
But sometimes
nothing for progress, and progress could be...
progress could be anything.
Settled
Right.
in well,
Settled in well.
even in those 2 days.
Slept through the night.
Yeah.
Okay.
So an easy time getting the PTO.
Mm-hmm.
Or even, stop crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to have, those first initial months, you're going to have a lot to write for concerns. And it's going to be hard to write things of progress, especially when you don't have the services set up that they need yet. But find something, even if it's, they laughed today finally. Or they finally wanted to hang out with me and it wasn't something I had to force on them. You know what I mean? You're going to find something. This is the medication log. It's 2 pages long. Well, technically it's 3 pages long. This is the title page. I don't know why the title page was behind everything. So when you do a medication log, I'm going to go to this page right here, which is the 17 through 18 page. If a child is not taking any medication, you're going to fill it out just like this. Just slash across, and then everybody initials at the top. Okay? You want to make sure for the month and the year that you do put the month and the year, your last name, their first name and last name, and again, the initial. Now, if they are taking medications, how you're going to list it is, you're going to see that it says med 3 times here. That's 3 different medications, or if they take the same medication 3 times a day, you're going to list it here. What the medication is, then here, you're going to go across whatever the dose is, what time they took it at, and then you're going to initial that you gave it to them. Okay? When you guys are doing medication logs, with the exception of over-the-counter medication, we already have that, okay? If a child has an ear infection, you have to give them antibiotics, you're going to give us that prescription as well, so that we can prove that they had the prescription, and not only that, but you guys made sure to give it to them. Okay? Any questions on this one?
When you say give you the prescription, how are we giving it to you? Just make a copy of it?
Mm-hmm. And when it's the prescription, it could even be like the letter that gets attached to the bag on the prescription when you pick it up. Like, that works too.
So this is at the end of the month.
Mm-hmm. So when you would we just finished March. I visit you in April, you're turning in March paperwork to me. Does that make sense? I come back in May, you're giving me April paperwork. Okay?
So Ms. Harris, how these report when missed dose or incorrectly administered dose, like on the same day or something like that?
That's on the same day, because most of the time we're going to have to file a critical depending on what the medication is, which we're going to talk about later. Okay. So the next thing is a birth family contact record. This is when they visit with mom and dad, if they have phone calls with grandma and grandpa or some cousin who lives in 3 states away, you're gonna write this down. I always recommend mom and dad always have the same visit every week. They either always visit on Wednesday or they always visit on Monday and Tuesday. Like, it's always going to be the same day of the week. Write down those dates ahead of time, and if mom and dad don't show, just say mom and dad didn't show. And you also need to write down, this is how the child reacted to it. Sometimes they don't have a reaction. Sometimes they have a very strong reaction. You want to document all of that. you want to document if mom and dad did show, how were they after the visit? How were they before the visit? Did you notice that next day that they were very emotional? That's stuff you're going to want to document. Okay?
This is an individual thing.
As well. Section 4. Medical examination forms. So these are forms that if you're going to urgent care because they have an upset stomach, you're going to take this. If you have a baby and you're going to do a well child check, you're taking this one. Okay? Any questions on this one? Again, recommendations. Well child check?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you use the other one?
The initial? Because it's weird. But the physicals are for every year. Well child checks aren't necessarily every year. For babies, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we use this one for all the baby well.
Yeah, and then if they go to the doctor because they got a runny nose, allergies, this is what you're taking. If they are referred out to a specialist, you're also taking this document. Okay. Again, pay attention to the recommendations for follow-up care. If you guys don't remember it, that's fine. We keep track of it, but it's also easier for you guys to plan it if you guys keep track of it yourselves versus us having to throw it on you and be like, okay, you got to get this in.
So the session was just the initial.
That's just the initial stuff. Annual physical exam. Sometimes kids are in care for up to a year, or when their yearly well child check would come up. You would take this with you. So say a child was born in December, but they didn't come into care until April. When December comes back around, even though it hasn't been a year, they still need that well child check or physical to be done. And this is the paperwork you would use to take it. Okay. Dental examination form. This is the follow-up form for the initial dental. Also, this is the form you would take if they went to go see an orthodontist or something like that. This vision form looks exactly like the initial vision form, except it doesn't say initial on it. And it's the same thing. This is your follow-up vision form. Every year, even if the doctor says they don't need to get a new prescription or whatever, they need to see an ophthalmologist. Okay. Section 5. This is my favorite. So this is the incident report. It's 2 pages long. If a child gets hurt in your care, you're going to want to fill out an incident report. Because there are bio parents, guys, who every little scratch they get, they're going to complain about it. So just fill this out and we can just send this to the caseworker and there's not going to be any issues, okay? Circle wherever they were hurt, mark down wherever they were hurt, how they got hurt, make sure you sign it. And then this is just where they got hurt, what caused it, what type of injury is it. Yeah. Most importantly, please mark that somebody witnessed the incident. Like whoever saw it, you need to write down who it is, even if it's another child in your home. Okay?
So what if they have an accident, like they fall over something, but there's no bruising or cuts or anything? You still have to fill this out?
Kind of depends on the age. If it's a baby, you're still going to want to do it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? And that's what I was going to get at. Like next, if a child under the age of 2 hits their head, you've got to fill one out, and you've got to take them to urgent care because their skull's not formed. Okay?
And like, plenty of things happen when you're not aware, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We always understand, like, things happen. We've seen some weird things. We've seen a kid's hands get stuck in a couch.
So this is the witness?
No. You can just say, I was in the other room, or they weren't anywhere near that, you know, whatever it takes. We're understanding people,
Yeah.
but
So
just
then-
let us know.
So then if they get hurt and they come to you and say, my elbow hurts.
Then you can-
fill out a report.
Yeah, if they got hurt, some kids do come and say that their elbow hurts, but they really just want some loving, so.
But we still fill out this.
Not for that. Like, if you know they got hurt, then that's one thing.
Okay. so
Yeah.
these are just-
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, nitpicky, but like my daughter wants a Band-Aid for everything. So
Mhm.
like anytime they're like saying, "Ow, this hurts," you
Mhm.
essentially are filling this form out. It's
No.
oh, sorry.
No. If you know they've got hurt, like they're really hurt, fill out the form.
Okay.
Yeah. We understand. Just tell us. okay?
I'm just worried about if they're a talking age and then they mention it and they're like, well, there's nothing in there.
So this next thing is also the critical incidents that we're talking about a little bit earlier. There are going to be times when a child does go into the hospital and they're very sick, such as we have infants around this time of year who get RSV and they have to go into the hospital for an extended amount of time. That's called a critical incident. So a critical incident report does not mean that you guys did anything to them. It can, probably not. It could also be any of these things. And what you're going to say is, or what this says is, these are the 24-hour diseases that need to be reported, and these are the 7-day diseases that need to be reported. Okay? We do this for you guys, but it's just letting you guys know, like, this is what a critical is. Okay? Critical incidents can also include a death of a foster child, serious physical injury. If a child breaks their arm playing outside, it's a critical. It's okay. Kids break their arms. Again, if they're hospitalized, if they made any threat or somebody else made a threat against them, such as kidnapping or anything else, that would be a critical. When children, we do have this, guys, we do have kids who need to be placed on 72-hour holds for suicide. Those are criticals as well. I also want to state that sometimes it's not the older kids. I have had a 9-year-old who needed to be held on a suicide watch. When you hear it, call Hope and Homes on call phone and let them know, this is what happened, what should I do? We'll walk you through it. For any of these things, you're going to call the on-call phone. We're going to walk you through it because it's not necessarily the same thing, or you've probably never gone through it with your own children. Call us and let us know. Not only that, it's really scary when you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get a critical, and you have to sit there by yourself, or you're sitting there by yourself in the hospital. Let us know. We like to be there for you guys, okay? Also, sometimes you get meal trains. So this is the working file. This is for you guys. We don't ever collect this, but it's just keeping track of the child. Their caseworkers change. When they come into care, they get an initial caseworker, so that's one. Then they get an ongoing caseworker who does the entire case from start to finish. So if rights are terminated, she's the one who's going to terminate rights. Or if they go back to mom and dad, she's the one taking them back to mom and dad. If they do have rights terminated and they're moving to the adoption unit, that's going to be their third caseworker. So it depends on what unit they're in. So it's kind of easy to like use this and keep track of it. Oh, jeez.
You being recorded?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Hi, Ross.
Let me interrupt real quick.
You got it.
How is everybody? Good, thank you. Good. If I haven't met you, I'm Ross. I'm the director here at Open Home. And I just want to interrupt earlier with an announcement. And the announcement is that we have extra room in the conference this Saturday. So Open Home is hosting the annual DHS conference. DHS does an annual conference, and they asked us to host it. So it's going to be here at Open Home from 9 to 4, and we had to open it up to all of the CPAs throughout the entire county, and we have openings that are extra, and so we snagged them. They're ours, and so I think we have like a dozen extra spots. So if any of you want to come, it's 9 o'clock until 4 on Saturday, and it's great because we have a representative from the state of Colorado coming down, Beverly Grumerick, and we also have the head of DHS, Julie, what's Julie's last name?
Crow.
Julie Crow is going to be here, and then we have 3 very short workshops, each about 35 to 40 minutes long, one of them is held by Jackie Thurman, our clinical director, together with Daisha, and they're going to talk about how they parented and worked on a really, really tough teenager. And then we have one of our foster parents who's going to talk about how she worked with sensory integration with little kids. And then we have a therapist that we use a lot from Four Feathers who's going to come in and talk about trauma. So it's going to be 3 really good workshops, plus we're paying for lunch. And then we have an open panel discussion with the head of DHS where we get to ask personal questions, and you get to meet with her and some of her staff. So it's free, lunch is included, and all you gotta do is tell your teacher after class is over if you want to be in it, and she'll take your name and she'll reserve you a spot.
You got it.
Okay, back to your class.
Thanks,
Edit
Ross.
that part out.
Okay.
Have a good class.
Thanks,
And how's it
Ross.
going so far?
It's going great.
Is she a good teacher? Okay. Let me know if she's not.
All right.
JK.
Thanks, Ross.
Just kidding.
I needed that lesson on JK. All right. The next thing is GAL. That's the guardian. Oh, are you okay?
I'm good. I'm good. Sorry. I was like, there's a camera right there. And it's so good.
What fell off?
Get a critical on that one.
I hope it's still recording. All right, we're just gonna. Are you okay for real? Okay, just go ahead and just leave it. It's okay. I'll figure it out later. So GAL, that's guardian ad litem. Guardian ad litem is the child's attorney. I will say this: caseworkers work for the bio family as a whole. GALs work for the kid on its own. The kids on their own. Okay, like they're not concerned about mom services or anything like that. We work for you guys, so it's kind of like a triangle that has to intermingle, work together, okay? CASA, that's a child advocate. Not all of you are going to get one. Not every case gets one. Only special cases where the judge really needs another pair of eyes on the kids. But they're actually very helpful, guys. Really take advantage of them, okay? They'll take the kids out for ice cream when you need them to. If the kid's having a really rough day and you kind of are having a rough day, like they'll come and help out, really take advantage of them, okay? And then the therapist, almost all kids are in therapy. All of our kids are, unless they're infants. So, the initial physical exam date, I mean, all of this is pretty self-explanatory, but if you guys have any questions about this, please let me know. Yeah. We have kids who see a play therapist. We have people who see, they're more of attachment therapists. They focus on the attachment piece of it.
What if it's like physical therapy?
There's physical therapists, occupational therapists. We have,
ABA too, or not?
we do have some kids who are on ABA. It depends. Mhm. All right. Any questions about the paperwork, guys? I know it's a lot. It's so much. Okay. So the next paper we're going to do is the house rules. So we're going to do this together, and you guys are going to leave this with me so I can get this in your file today, and it's one less thing you guys have to do by yourselves. Okay. So all foster homes have to have a set of house rules. All of them do in this state. Just because these are the rules that we're making, it's not the only rules that you can have. These are the rules that you're going to explain to the kids that come into your care. Okay? And obviously, they're going to change based on age. So we'll talk about that later. I have examples, so we'll go through them. But I want to talk about the language here, guys. This isn't I language. It's not I am going to do this. I am going to do this. Or it's not you're going to do this. You're going to do this. It's we. We are going to be like this. This is what we expect from each other. Things like that. Does that make sense? So just some examples I want to go through, and then I'll pass them out. You guys can take whichever ones you want, basically. Is we are patient, slow to lose our tempers, and become angry with one another. We are kind to one another. We recognize and celebrate one another's strengths and gifts. We focus it on encouraging each other rather than bragging about ourselves. We forgive one another. We respect each other's privacy, space, needs. We tell the truth, and we share with one another. Okay. Another set that another family made was ask us if you need anything. A lot of kids are afraid to ask for help. Okay. Make yourself at home. Don't worry about things you cannot change. Let us help you feel safe. Try to smile and understand we are here for you if needed. We never go hungry. We will look for the best in each other. We are honest with each other. It is okay to share our feelings with each other. And we use gentle hands. Okay? Does that make sense? Does anybody have any questions about these? Okay. If I pass these around, would this help you guys just come up with them? So I'm going to pass them like half this way, and then this has more in here if you guys would like.
I have a question about the privacy.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to have rooms with locks on them if they're middle-aged, middle school and teenagers and high school?
That is a good question.
Or do you need to take them off? Because we have a lot of doors that do.
No. I think whatever you have is fine. The only real thing is you can't lock them, obviously. You can't lock them in.
I'm talking about the interior where they can close the door.
You don't have to take it off. You don't necessarily have to. I have little kids. We don't put them on little kids' doors because they really take advantage of it sometimes. But for like the older kids, you want to leave it 'cause sometimes they just need more space. Do you guys have any other questions about the house rules?
Well, I'm just wondering if there's, so when we show these to the kids, it seems to me there's going to be trigger words that are not going to be, that are not going to go over well. Like you said something about, what was the one that you said about, ask for something? And is that,
Ask if you need anything.
And that they may not. So I'm trying to figure out, well, how do you word that instead?
That they, like, I'm
That
trying
they-
to.
They're
afraid to ask.
So you tell them it's okay to ask.
Yeah, that's what that meant.
Okay.
Like, yeah, ask us if you, not necessarily like, if you want a glass of water, ask us, and you're 17, you can definitely get it yourself. Like, it's just meant for if you need help, like, let us know. Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys, you only have to have 3.
Oh.
Yeah. So you don't have to go too crazy. And this is not what the one you're going to post in your house. You have to post one in your house, like next to an evacuation plan, and your emergency phone numbers. You have to place one near them. So this is not the one you're going to post in your house. This goes to us, and then you guys can. I have families who like made a whole chalkboard wall and then wrote the rules down because the rules can change depending on the age range, obviously. So it's kind of nice. A lot of people do a lot of cute things with this. I think I had a family who did like I think it was like a grease tray or something, and then they did magnets across it. So there are a lot of ideas like that. Do you guys want to take a break, or do you guys want to power through this?
Keep going.
You want to keep going?
Yeah, that's fine.
We've got 1, 2,
Are we supposed to fill out the section?
just 3, yeah. And then you're just going to pass that on up to me when you're done, and I'm going to get it in your guys' file. Yes, please put your name on them. At least your last name.
What is our last name?
Mm-hmm.
Your last name is Smith.
Surprisingly, we just have a lot of Jones, not a lot of Smiths. Yeah. No, it's understandable. And if anything, you're probably the only Smiths in here. So that's how we do it. Yeah.
She's on top, sorry, I missed it. On top.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can you remind me your name?
Sylvia. Oh, they just Thank you.
Julia, right.
Rain, would you mind passing?
We're just going to wait a little bit because she went to the restroom. Is this all of your guys' first class? Oh.
This is our last class.
Oh, this is your last class? You started midway through the last one?
When you meet with the parents, it's like here or somewhere in a specified location, right?
When we meet, what do you...
When you have that initial time with the parents and sign up, like horseback riding or whatever, that's
at a visitation center.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes the first visitation is at DHS, or it's at the Boulder Visitation Center off of Boulder Street, downtown. There's also the Griffith Center, but the ongoing visitation center is Savio, and they are off of Bijou. So, yeah. And if you're not comfortable with, meeting parents face-to-face, you can arrange for them to come out and get the kids and take them up and then bring them back down to you guys, or you can take them up and see mom and dad. It's really it depends on your preference. If we find out information that mom and dad don't want to meet you, mom and dad don't want to see you, or it's not in your best interest to meet mom and dad, we will let you know ahead of time. Okay?
But we go down there with the kids by ourselves. There's nobody from here that goes with us.
No, there are visitation supervisors who do all of that. Yeah, they specialize in that.
And then a lot of times CASA will take on that role.
CASAs too will take on that role sometimes. Mm-hmm. All right, you guys ready to go?
Yeah.
Next page. Oh, what's your last name, guys? Hodges. I'll remember that. Okay. So the next thing is, you guys probably haven't done your facility checks yet if it's your first class. So this is the how to get through your facility checklist. So here, we're just going to go through this really quick because, and I want you guys, if you want to read ahead and let me know if you guys have questions about what things should look like or anything like that. Obviously, the first thing is we want the home to be clean and well maintained. Especially for those of you who have babies, let's be honest, it's kind of hard for you to carry around a baby when there's stuff all over the place. But we also understand getting overwhelmed. There have been multiple times where I've arranged for someone to go to my parents' houses and just clean their house for them. It's one less thing off of their list. We don't always do that. That's not really our jobs, but we want to take care of you guys too. Okay. Then all areas must be kept free from accumulation of significant amounts of non-essential materials. Please don't collect newspapers. They're super flammable, okay? If you do, put them somewhere where they're not going to be flammable, okay? There must be 35 square feet of play area for the kids, for each child. So in the bathroom where they sleep, all needs to be, well, not your bathroom, but their sleeping areas need to be 35 square feet each. So if you do have a 70-foot room, 2 kids can sleep in that room, depending on their gender and their age range, okay? Which we'll go through later. House rules must be posted in a central location and available for the child's orientation to your home. The central location is what, how do I put this? If you guys really, convene in your kitchen, that's your central location. If it's your dining room, that's your central location. I will say for the house rules, again, emergency phone numbers and the evac plans need to all be in the same area. But if you have a multi-level home, you're going to want you want an evac plan for every level of your home. Okay? And I also recommend putting it right outside the kids' bedroom. Like if they're on the bottom level, put it right outside where they would see it. Like if they walked out, put it right there.
Is that age dependent at all?
The bottom level?
A written list for a 2-year-old?
You have to have it in your home no matter what. It's state compliance. Yeah. You need to have a fully stocked first aid kit, of course. Carbon monoxide detectors, you need to at least have one in the home, and it must be working. Okay, obviously. Hot water heater must be at 120 degrees. It cannot be any higher than that. Tool sheds and garages, they must be locked. The reason is a lot of toddlers get into the garage and there are tools in the garage. It's just not really the safest environment. Tool sheds as well. Any stairways with more than 4 steps need to have a handrail. And the handrails can't be more than 5 inches apart. Okay, we don't want a kid falling through the handrails. The slats in the handrails. We have had that before. I will say a lot of people are like, that doesn't happen. We have had a child fall through the handrail. Like, again, the square feet. If you have 2 kids in one room, the beds must be, if they're parallel, they need to be at least 2 feet apart. Okay. Adequate toiletry and hygiene supplies. I don't know if you guys, well, obviously, some of you toured Hope and Home. Upstairs, we have a toiletry room for our kids. They can come and get toothpaste, shampoo, body wash, deodorant, all of that. We can get that for you guys. It's all free, and they can grab whatever they want. Same with clothes up there. Age-appropriate toys and play equipment. And obviously, the home needs to be child-proof, so locks on drawers, locks on cabinets. All the knives need to be locked up and placed away from kids where they can get them. Same with razors and scissors and matches. Please don't put matches in a drawer that's not locked, because they will find them. Okay. Trash cans all need to be covered. Medication needs to be stored in either a locked closet or a lock box. The lock box can have a code on it, and you can just put the code in and pop it open, or it can have a key. Okay, but it needs to be in a locked area so kids can't get to it. All right. All medications also must be in this lockbox. Even if the kid doesn't have medications, but maybe you guys do, it needs to be in the lockbox. I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a house and I've seen a kid playing with a bottle, even if it's empty. I've walked in on a house with a kid playing with I think it was like a cough syrup bottle. I can't remember off the top of my head. I almost had a panic attack. Please be careful. Please, I know it's kind of an inconvenience, especially for those of you who take medication on a daily basis, but please make sure it's locked up, okay? Emergency drills and fire safety. You guys are going to create an emergency drill plan. You guys have an emergency drill log now because you guys get to keep that. Make a plan for each one. What happens if there's a tornado? What happens if there's a fire? What happens if there's a flood? And go through it with your family too and see, like, is this really a feasible plan, and practice it as well. Okay, make sure nothing's blocking your doors, which I'm sure you guys know that because then you couldn't use them. Make sure your smoke detectors work. You need to have at least one fire extinguisher. It needs to be in the kitchen. And then you need to have just a spare one wherever you feel it needs to be at. The one in the kitchen, I always recommend it being at least the 5-pound one. And then for the other one, you can get whatever size you guys want. Okay. They do come with tags on them. Don't rip those tags off because that has the expiration on it and you need that. Okay, so make sure to leave the tags on there. We have a lot of people who rip them off, and I was like, it's not a receipt. Like, it has your expiration date on it, and it has when you need to go get them checked in. A screen covering basically any wooden stoves and any fireplaces. Okay.
Even if you don't use them?
Even if you don't use them. Especially for gas fireplaces, guys, those are still hot. They still run. So a child can still burn their hand on that. So you have to be very careful. Make sure that they're still covered, okay? No gas space heaters, no hot plates, no electric heaters. If you guys can use an electric heater, like if your heat goes out, but that can't be your main source of heat in the home, okay? We understand when things happen. and block off your hot water heater, your furnace, and please don't use candles in the kids' bedrooms, or if you have them lit and you're about to leave the room, blow it out. Okay? Your yard must be clean. It must be no less than 75 square feet per child between the ages of 12 months and 5 years. It must be fenced, but if it's not fenced, we're going to talk about what to do right after this, okay?
It must be less than 75.
It can't be less than 75.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry. I know, it's so weird how it's written down. That's why I keep stuttering too. I understand. Window wells need to be covered. I grew up in Pueblo County. I didn't realize that El Paso County didn't require for their window wells to be covered. But guys, there is a Pinterest fix for like $35 to have your window wells covered. So if you don't have them covered, check that out. They're actually really nice. And decks that are higher than 30 inches need to have a handrail across them. Basements, if your basement's unfinished, kids cannot be in them. Hold on, wait. Oh, okay. If you do have a finished basement, there must be at least one exit down there per child. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Each bedroom has to have an exit. That's what I meant to say. And again, there needs to be an escape route for those bedrooms down there. If you have window wells especially, obviously the escape route's going to look different for fires. If applicable, no smoking in a foster home, no smoking around a foster child, no smoking near a foster child. Just don't do it. Okay. Any weapons, if you have guns, or if maybe you're more of a bow and arrow person, guns and bows need to be locked in one safe. Ammo needs to be locked in a different one. Okay. Any questions on that? All right. Swimming pool and hot tub requirements. You guys saw you need permission for kids to do swimming and things like that. Make sure you have the permission for it. Make sure that there's always supervision. Okay. It does not take long for a child to drown. So if you're leaving, the kid needs to get out. Okay. Also must be covered and have a safety gate or fence so that children can't access it without you. Okay. Same with the trampoline. Still need the written permission, adult supervision at all times. And we're going to do a safety plan. We're going to talk about like having a fence and having a swimming pool and having a trampoline in a second. So that's why I'm trying to be brief about that. Does anybody have any questions about this? I feel like it's straightforward, but I'm not sure.
The thing about garages must be locked and inaccessible. If it's attached to your house, how does that? That doesn't sound possible.
Yeah, I was going to say, doesn't your garage have like a lock before you go in it?
Right from the inside.
We have a deadbolt, so
yeah, that's all.
Okay.
That's all.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, either way, even if you had a larger child, that lock isn't going to do anything for you, but it's mostly the little ones that we're worried about being in the garage. Yeah. Okay. I also gave you guys swimming pools and unfenced plans. Do you guys have any questions about that? I feel like they're straightforward. Does anybody not have a fence in their yard? You guys do? So you guys are going to need to make a plan. Anybody have a swimming pool? Anybody have a trampoline? Okay, you guys are also going to make a plan. Trampolines are going to look a little different. We didn't bring them. I don't know why. But the fenced one, I'll just meet with you guys separately. Is that okay? Afterwards, and we can talk about it? Okay. So this is what a facility checklist looks like. You guys really don't get to see them. It's kind of just like a little grid. We'll go through and we'll check all of this compliance, but on here it also includes your first aid and CPR cards are part of your facility check. I did not give this to you guys. This is for me. Sorry. You guys don't fill this out. We fill this out for you guys. We are giving you this checklist because you have to do a facility check every single year. And this is what we use for it, okay? But I want to emphasize that your CPR cards, your emergency numbers, your auto insurance are all a part of the facility checklist. So you need to make sure that those stay up to date, okay? I know that the auto insurance is the one that we always forget because it automatically, typically renews itself. We'll remind you. Like you guys have to give it to us so we know when it's about to expire. So when it's about to expire, we'll let you know so you can just get it to us. Okay? I mean, are you guys? Yes.
This is like kind of backtracking a little bit.
Okay.
But like, trundle beds?
You can't use trundle beds at all.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you can't use trundle beds at all.
What about bunk?
Bunk beds are fine. Mm-hmm.
Do you have an age limit on bunk beds?
Not really. Obviously, you're not going to put a toddler up there, like on the top one. Toddler's going to be on the bottom one. But no, you guys are done. Yeah.
That's why you can't use trundle bed?
I honestly don't know. It's a state thing. I don't know. I've always just
Do we
assumed
have to
that it's the
remove them from
fingers.
the house?
I've never heard of anybody having to remove them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I have a trundle bed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've always thought maybe it was the wheels and kids and their finger. I don't really know. I don't make the regulations, guys. I just tell you what they are. I don't even ask you for you guys to remember them. I'm going to remember them for you. So, okay. So this is the unfenced yard and swimming pool safety plan. Everybody has to make one if they have a swimming pool. You guys have to make it because you have an unfenced yard. It's really easy, but make sure we did it. So the next thing we have here is a quiz. Usually we pass out the volume 7 booklet so we can all go through it together, but we didn't get to print them out, I'm guessing. I'm not sure why we don't have them. But we're going to go through the quiz together no matter what, because I don't expect you guys to remember all of this. And even after you guys get licensed, we don't expect you guys to remember it. We remember it for you guys. Okay? So if everybody has a pen, like every single one of you, right? Okay. So we're just going to go through it together. I'll just ask the question. You guys can let me know what answer you think it is, and I'll tell you the answer it is. Yep. Yep. And you guys are going to take these quizzes home. They're not for us, but it is for you guys. Usually you get a volume 7 booklet to take home with you as well, but I don't know what happened. So the first one, how many foster children can be placed in a foster home?
D.
Yeah, D. 4, but there is an exception if it is a sibling group greater than 4.
Isn't that dependent on the square footage of your bedroom?
We can also get waivers for that when they're siblings. Yeah, when they're siblings. But you'll be surprised. We had a sibling set of 8 last week. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then the day before we had a sibling set of 7, so we didn't even have room for them. Yeah. Yeah. So number 2, how many total children can be in a foster home, including biological, adopted, and foster children? It's actually B. It's 8. That's what you say. My parents have 10. My parents have 10. And they still want to keep going. It's time for grandchildren now. What is the minimum age for a foster parent? It's B. 21. For can a foster parent smoke cigarettes in the house or in close proximity of a child? No. Don't do it or you're going to have a bad time, guys, okay? A foster parent and any person living in the home must complete a physical exam in order to be certified. Yes.
I have a question real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
These are open home rules, correct?
No. These are state rules.
No, I just think that's funny about the cigarette thing, because I'm sure that goes on all the time. Okay.
Oh, it probably does.
Okay.
But
maybe it's just open home
yeah.
rules.
No, it definitely does. But we're much more strict about Volume 7. Ross is like on a first name basis with the state DHS head person. So So he's a little more, not more strict, like we're very understanding, but when it comes to things like this, we are very strict and we make sure that we know it for you guys. Like we don't want you to fail because of something like this.
So are any of these in addition to, or they have a volume?
So you
7
see these
analysis?
tags right here?
Right.
These are the tags for the volume 7
Okay.
booklet, which is all their laws and all their regulations. So if you were to go online right now and look up the volume 7 thing, these tags are going to give you the answers, which is why you were supposed to have the booklet so you can find the answers yourself, but you don't have the booklet, so now we're doing it together.
So the physical exam thing,
Uh-huh.
that has to be done by an MD as well?
Yes. For you guys, though, it's not annually. It's every 2 years. Unless there's something wrong and the doctor's like, hey, he needs to come back every year. It's every 2 years. And when it comes close to expiring, we let you know. Okay? Also, guys, if you don't really have that much time, King Soopers has a little clinic that you can get your physical done at.
Is there a form or something?
Yes, they haven't allowed you to do that. Okay, so there. Pardon?
No, there's something in the package.
Okay.
And you just get your doctor to fill out.
Have mine done.
There you go.
There it is. Yep, that's what it looks like right there. Thanks for having it. You don't have it? I'll print it for you afterwards. Just remind me.
Is that just the initial packet we got with the application, or is there a different packet?
I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't do the licensing, so I don't know. Was that in your initial packet?
What? Yes. Well,
Okay.
This, yeah, everything that was in this thing was our initial packet.
Because I haven't had my license or my licensing meeting yet.
Oh, that's why then.
Oh.
Yeah. That's okay. Okay. Number 6, the backyard of a foster home must be fully fenced or have a unfenced yard safety plan. Okay. If a foster parent owns firearms or weapons of any kind, they must be secured behind a locked container with ammunition stored in a separate locked container. Okay. What is the policy on unfinished basements in the foster home? C.
How do you make that inaccessible? You have to have a lock on the door, or?
No, if there's just a door.
Oh.
Yeah. No.
You can open it up. Okay.
Yeah. From what I understand, it's just a door because I have families who just have a door. Yeah. What are the requirements of a basement bedroom will be used by a foster child? B. You guys are so quiet compared to my last class. Thank you. There shall be a minimum of blank square feet of space per each child in a bedroom. A. What does a foster home need in order to have a swimming pool, hot tub, pond, and or fountain? A written safety plan, permission from the agency, and possibly an inspection by the county or state Department of Health. While we're on this topic, does anybody use well water here? Every year you're going to have your well water tested. Right. And it'll just be when you guys recertify every year. That's just when we'll do it. What does a foster home need in order to have a trampoline? See, a safety plan written based on trampoline instructions. Yeah, that's what I thought too. It does need to be installed. Yeah. The entire premises of a foster home is subject to inspection for certification purposes, including but not limited to the home residence, the grounds surrounding the home, the basement, the attic, and any storage buildings and garage. True. The foster home must be free of fire hazards and accumulation of non-essential items. True. What is the policy on the use of well water rather than city water in a foster home? B. Water must be tested once a year for compliance with water quality requirements. A foster child can be in the care of an uncertified adult if... We didn't really talk about this, so I can understand if you guys look at this one. It is D. Care cannot exceed more than 6 hours. Care is not overnight, and the adult must be 18 years or older. Okay.
And if it is overnight over 6 hours, they have to be like CPR certified.
CPR certified. It has to be in home. Background checks must be ran. If you guys need overnight care, I always just do respite that just means another foster family will watch them, and then you don't have to pay for anybody to get their background checks or their fingerprints or anything like that.
So we can have our foster child we can use our babysitter for our foster kid?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not over 6 hours.
If it's not over 6 hours. If it's over 6 hours for you, like if it's over 6 hours, if you guys have a standard babysitter you're going to use all the time, I recommend going ahead and getting their background check, going ahead and doing their CPR and everything like that, just in case there's an emergency and you absolutely need them to watch them. Does anybody else have any questions about that? Okay. If a foster child needs overnight care, what? D, yes. The child must be placed in another certified foster home overnight with Hope and Home's approval. When you use respite, which is what this is called, we need to know and the county needs to know where that child is at all times. So if that child is not in your home overnight, we need to know so the county can know. Not only that, if it's not an emergency respite, which means we understand there are emergencies and sometimes the kid just needs to go into respite. If it's not an emergency respite and we find out that the kid is at a respite home midway through the respite, we then have to go tell the county midway through the respite where this child was, and it's not really a good, like, it's not a good look, okay? They need to know where they're at, we need to know where they're at, and most importantly, it keeps you out of trouble, okay?
So we call you.
You call us, we tell them. On that note, I prefer to usually do my communication for my parents. You guys have an emotional investment in a child. Sometimes the caseworkers don't want to hear it from you. It's nothing against you guys, but I've had caseworkers say, it's not my job to coddle your parents. And it's not. So I try not to take it to heart. I'm very protective of my parents, though. So I usually prefer they call me, and then I will call the caseworker. Because sometimes, again, they also think you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Does that make sense? Okay.
So this includes, obviously, like if you're, good friends with another foster family
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing like a sleepover.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And then a Hope and Home approved individual with proper paperwork and background checks completed can provide care overnight in the foster home. So that's like if you guys' babysitter did it. And an individual who is 21 or older may provide care. Number 18, a foster child cannot be placed in respite care for more than blank consecutive days a month and cannot exceed blank days in a calendar year. C, they cannot be in respite for more than 7 days before they need to be back with you guys, or 7 nights. I'm going to say 7 nights. It's easier to remember that. And they cannot use more, you guys cannot use more than 28 days a year. I will say this, guys, 28 days is a lot. I've been doing this for a little bit. My parents have been doing this for a little bit. They've never exceeded the 28 days. But use it when you need it. I have had to force respite on some families who I know are on the verge of a mental breakdown and they just need the break. Use it when you need it, okay? Don't ever worry about, oh, I need to save up this time. Like, that's not my concern. My concern is that you guys are healthy and you guys are being taken care of as well, okay?
With that, can you travel with a foster kiddo? Like, out? Is there certain parameters you can't leave?
So technically, you're not supposed to leave the county with them. However, hold on, wait a second. I knew your reaction was going to be that. However, often for my families, I will get a blanket permission just saying, can they go anywhere in Colorado? And usually that's granted because that's really not that big of a deal. And it saves the caseworker having to answer my phone calls. If you're traveling out of state with a child, you need to let us know ahead of time. We're going to need like 2 months in advance because the caseworker has to go to court and get permission from the judge. Okay? And when they do that, they also have to get a document that states that you can take the kid out of state so that you're not going to get in trouble for trafficking or kidnapping when you cross the state border, okay?
How many nights or days in advance if you're just going to go out of the county? Can that be
At
like
least,
a day?
I was going to say at least a day, like at least 24 hours, give us some time to actually get in touch with them. But
I mean, it means trips to Denver or
everything. The only thing we kind of get away with is Teller County, because I'm going to be honest, some people don't realize that Teller County is not El Paso County, some caseworkers who aren't from here, so that's really the only time you can get away with it. I don't recommend trying it because honestly, if a kid has allergies, that's like the one place you're going to find out where they have allergies. It's not the best place to get caught with a kid. So just let us know ahead of time. I prefer getting the blanket permission because then you guys just have to send me a text that, hey, I'm going here, and then I just have to tell the caseworker, hey, they're going, like, see you guys later.
And if you're going somewhere, like say, to your grandparents' house, do they have to have all this house stuff, like if you're going to go for a weekend?
No. If you guys are going, say you're going to Aspen for 2 days, just let us know. We're going to be in Aspen 2 days. He's coming with us, and that's it. Yeah. Do you guys have any questions about that? Like, if you guys go away?
Yeah, spontaneities to kill here.
I understand. That's why the blanket permission.
To the county fair or something like that, and I was saying you have to. Well,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't know. I just thinking, oh my gosh.
I know. That's why the blanket permission is nice.
Yeah.
I go for it every time.
One thing, just send me a text. However, head it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you do the blanket permission, you just send me a text, and then I just tell the caseworker they'll be back tomorrow or they'll be back later today.
So how do we get that blanket?
Tell your home supervisor you want a blanket permission for Colorado County. We'll get it for you. Or Colorado State. We'll get it for you. Okay. So 19, outdoor activity must be made available to each foster child each day, weather permitting. True. A foster child must be provided with 2 sheets and 1 blanket. Bedding should be changed or washed at least every other week. That's actually false. It needs to be changed every week. It needs to be changed every week. Yeah. Oh, got you guys there. Until what age can a foster child stay in a parent's master bedroom in their own crib? C, 18 months. On that note, guys, not allowed to co-sleep with any of the foster children. A lot of people try to use the wedges for foster children as well. You actually are not allowed to use wedges with foster children.
Foster children are not allowed to be in the bed.
No. Do you guys know what wedges are?
No.
It's kind of like a little pillow that goes behind them and lifts them up. You're not allowed to use that without a prescription. Usually that's just for kids who have really, really bad acid reflux. Nothing in their cribs, swaddle them or use swaddle bags. Okay? They can't have pillows, there can't be any stuffed animals in there, nothing, right?
So if you have one of those, like, the baby beds attached to the bed?
I think that's fine. I've never seen one, but I've never. Yeah, you just can't co-sleep with them in your bed. Like, they can't be in the bed with you. Yeah.
What about like an elementary school kid that is afraid and they want to sleep on the floor and you make a little bed on the floor or something?
You can't do that. You can't do that. No.
Can we sleep in their room?
You can sleep in their room on the floor. That's what I was going to say.
Not in their bed.
Not in their bed.
So they can never like have a cuddle time in your bed.
Nope.
Or vice versa.
If you need to coddle them so they can go back to sleep, that's one thing. But you can't sleep in the bed with them. Does that make sense? Okay. Any child in the home cannot share a bedroom with the opposite sex if they are over the age of 4.
This is a trick question.
Why is it a trick question?
Hold on.
They can't ever.
Yeah, if they're over the age of 4, correct.
Yeah, so it is true. We do get waivers from this from time to time if we only have 1 bedroom, but we have a very bonded sibling set. We can get waivers for this. How do I say this? We tread carefully on this because obviously it depends on the age and the developmental age of children. Obviously, we're not going to put a preteen with a very young child because they have things going on that like a very young child should not see. So there's that. A bedroom for a child under age 5 shall be in close proximity to the foster parent's bedroom. True. They need to at least be on the same floor as you. How many children under age of 2 can reside in a foster home? 2. If you guys think you can handle more than 2 toddlers at a time, I mean, that's fine, but I can't.
Well, if you have a set of triplets, what you gonna do then?
Well, you have to keep them together because they're siblings, right? There's always a way.
That's just only the foster kid, right? Like if you have a biological.
No.
Oh.
Nope. Unless you have a biological son and you're getting 2 toddlers at the same time, there's no way around it. We will get a waiver, like, say for you guys, if you have a child, say you have 2 toddlers who are medically fragile, we happen to have another one, we think you'd be great for it. We'd get a waiver for them because we could either get a waiver for them to take care of this medically fragile kid or risk putting a medically fragile kid in your home. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. That maybe you guys are not. I don't know if that's your preference, but what I'm saying is maybe that's something that you don't want to do.
Sure.
So then we might get a waiver for them, especially for medically fragile kids. It's really hard to place them. Mm-hmm. It's easier to place an infant, but once they're older and they're medically fragile, it's very difficult. Mm-hmm. So there are always exceptions. Infants must be held during all bottle feedings. Mm-hmm. Yes. My favorite question. What is the policy on potty training a child in foster care? B. Potty training should not begin before the age of 18 months. And you guys, if potty training just doesn't happen, it'll happen. Just wait for it to happen. I know a lot of parents are like, it's not happening. It'll happen when they're ready. Okay? If a foster child's preferred religion is different than yours, you must provide opportunities and assistance for involvement in the religious practices of their choosing. True. A foster child may be invited to join the foster family in attending church, however, they must never be forced or coerced. True. This does not include, like, no, I was going to say, this doesn't include, like, the child care part of church. Like, some churches just do child care. Obviously, you want to go to church, the kid could go into child care. Like, it's fine. But you can't force them to sit through Mass. Sorry, I'm Catholic. You can't force them to sit through Mass if that's not what they want to do. Okay.
What if they're a very obvious different religion? What if they're Muslim or?
What do you mean? What if? Like, I'm just trying to. Can you be more specific?
What if the child is raised Muslim versus Christian or Catholic?
If they want to go with you, they can go with you. What this is saying is you can't force them. Yeah. But if they are Muslim, then you have to provide the opportunity for them to go to a mosque and participate in these activities and provide educational activities for their religion. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay.
But I'm thinking there is such a vast difference.
Yeah.
And how will those parents feel knowing their child was?
And this is where I'm going to always recommend an icebreaker. I do recommend icebreakers. I've had a lot of families who are scared do an icebreaker and feel a million times better about meeting bio parents because it kind of just reminds you that they're human. Mm-hmm. But we have had kids who have come in and they're a different religion, they're Jehovah's Witnesses and stuff like that. So meeting the parents, they can tell you, like, these are our holidays, this is what we do, this is where she'll go. Her aunt will come and get her and take her. Her casa will come and take her. Like, those are things that when we get there, we'll go through it together, okay? But, like, it's okay. Don't panic about it.
No, what is that piece you're saying about, like, if it's like church childcare? So, like, say, you know, the grown-ups go to grown-up stuff, and they have, like, a kids thing that's not, like, super, like, in-your-face religious.
That's fine.
That's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, let's be honest, there's a lot of kids in that childcare, and they're all toddlers. I know that they have not accomplished anything. Like, right. I get it. So, no, the childcare is fine. If it's an older kid, they're not comfortable in childcare, there are plenty of Hope and Home families that'll take them for a Sunday or take them for a Saturday for you guys. Like, it's not a big deal. Sometimes parents do get visitations on the weekends, like unsupervised for a couple hours. So that might be like a time that I tell families, you might want to use that time instead for them to go with their families. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. A foster child must receive permission from biological family or guardians to participate in any religious ceremonies. True. I will tell you the exceptions, guys. Teens are the exceptions. I did have a teen who was in respite, went to church with the respite family, and decided to be baptized like right then and there. So it happens. They can choose for themselves. If they do choose for themselves, just let bio parents know this is what they really want to do, and just have the bio parents sign off on it.
They can go to someone else's though. Or do you need, like, if there's a baptism, they're not being baptized, but they can
go.
attend.
Mm-hmm.
You need
Yeah.
permission for that.
Yeah, if they want to go and like their friends are being baptized,
Okay.
that's fine. Yeah. Efforts should be made to involve a foster child in extracurricular activities at school and in the community. True. Another thing, guys, about CASAs is they get like really good deals on the extracurricular activities outside of school, like paying for basketball leagues and things like that. So keep that in mind as well. A Hope and Home family with foster children placed with them must make reasonable efforts to be involved in activities at Hope and Home. That's true. So support group is once a month, which I'm sure some of you already know about. You have to get 20 training hours a year in order to recertify the next year. If you go to all your support groups, then you're going to get your 20 hours in like that. If you miss a couple, you'll probably still get 20 hours or maybe close to them, and we can make up that training. If you don't attend